Hey everybody, it's me, HeyArcher. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe for many videos, nerd-related, and videos just like this with my good friend, Mr. Aaron Waller, as we are doing another Titans-related chat. This is actually part 2 to a longer chat we're doing, and this is where we need your help. So we're trying to come up with a cool name for our series where we talk together. We're thinking something Titans-related, but that's where you guys in the comments, of course, can let us know what you think. So before we get into anything, I just want to say welcome, Aaron, back to the channel. Thanks for having me on your channel for part 1. And for those of you listening and watching, part 1 will be on his YouTube channel. Link in the description. Mr. Aaron Waller, welcome back to HeyArcher's channel.
Thank you. It's an honor and a pleasure. I always love being on the channel. I think this is now like, what, 3? Something like that I've been on the channel? Something like that?
I think that's correct.
All right. Well, 3 has been awesome. I've enjoyed every single time. Always great to be here. Big fan of your channel. Been going through every single HeyArcher episode and every Mandalorian as I watch them. So I've been catching up with the channel as much as possible.
Bless your heart in getting through those HeyArchers, because as I mentioned in another video, I make them and I haven't gone through all of them, I don't think. So and
some of the stuff I don't understand when you were doing your more UFC stuff before, but yeah, I still love it. So it's good to hear.
Yeah, that was the thing with that is I figured the UFC things was getting redundant, so that's where I kind of left it. But there's a big fight coming up in the next couple weeks, so I might do a quick UFC recap on that one. But we'll see. But let's talk about some fun stuff that somehow when we forget about it and we push it out of our heads, it makes its way back into our hearts. Titans. So before we started actually recording this episode, again, part 1 to this will be on his channel, which will be linked below. Before we started talking about this, we were discussing how we both have not found anybody who likes the show, aside from like internet trolls, if you would. With one exception, I found the YouTube channel, the Cyber Nerds. I'll link them below because actually they make some pretty cool stuff. They are fans of it, but they're currently watching it in real time in the UK because it's tape delayed. But here in the US, Aaron and I have both finished the series. You guys have finished the series. And recently, some news has come out about where this show will be going in the 3rd season. So there are 3 things that we want to kind of cover. But overall, Aaron, I want to open up with a really serious question here. Do you think this show can be redeemed in the 3rd part of the Skywalker saga? Wait, no, we're not talking Star Wars anymore. The 3rd part of this Dick Grayson saga.
I think calling it the Dick Grayson saga is probably the best way to put it. Can it be redeemed? I think with the minor characters, like Hawk, Dove, I think those are some of the best ones, the more grounded characters. When you start getting supernatural and bigger than that, they're, I think, failing the most. But I think at the same time, that's kind of where their focus is going to be in season 3. So it's really going to be a make or break season, this upcoming one.
So that's a good segue then. Actually, good job on your part. We're going to save the best for last. So let's start with I don't want to say the worst, but the one that from the jump, people from the screenshots were kind of like, actually that applies to a couple of them. But the one that people are the least excited about character-wise, Starfire. Now, there's a rumor online that they are going to have her in every episode of the season and actually make some changes to her physically or to the perception or whatever, in appearance. Do you think we might finally get an orange Starfire, or you think it's just going to be some wardrobe changes and it's just the same thing all over again?
I think it's probably going to be wardrobe changes and same thing all over again. I think they had a really drastic version of her in the 1st season, where she had like the fur jacket and like the short dress and all of that stuff that I think turned a lot of people off. And then the 2nd season, they kind of cleaned her up a bit, I think, in terms of like her wardrobe. She seemed to be a little bit more, not necessarily accurate, but at least kind of wore things that kind of more fit the character and the times that they're trying to put this series in. Right. And then now season 3, it's going to be better in terms of focus, probably, since the main villain's probably going to be Blackfire, who's her sister. So that's probably why she's getting screen time in every single episode. But in terms of her appearance, they're probably just going to make more purple and like clothing wise, just a variety of purple. But I don't think they're going to turn her orange. Maybe use more of her powers to like where she has like green eyes more consistently or something. But maybe that's about it.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if they're going to say like, you know, she learns how to fly, she gets more of her powers, and it's some sort of like almost Super Saiyan transformation where by her unlocking more of her powers, she changes to visually look more like the Starfire that we've seen online. But you brought up a good point, and that was Blackfire. Now, there's one thing I'm still confused on, and that is Starfire even like herself physically, or was she one of those little creature things jumped into a lady and now that's what she looks like? Because that's what they seem to do in the last episode with Blackfire. Like, does she look like how she looks? Does she transfer in a bacteria type form? Like, that part confused me, unless there's something I missed.
I'm trying to remember. I think she just showed up in that form, right? In the first season?
But like the way Blackfire shows up, remember she shows up, it's like a shot to like that lady's neck, and then
no, I remember about Blackfire, but I'm just thinking Starfire. Did she ever have a trans? I mean, she has a ship, so she must have. She physically came to Earth, I guess, in that form. I don't really know.
Yeah.
I don't really allude to that, but they kind of are mixing her a little bit, if that's the idea, kind of in a Martian Manhunter kind of way, where they can just sort of become whoever.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's ever been a part of Starfire before.
It was really weird. It was like I mean, that's the story of the series. It's not. There's not a beginning and an end written, and they're filling in the blanks. It seems like they're just writing as they go. Somebody's like, "Oh, there's a cool idea for this. Put it in there," and all of a sudden they're like, "Oh shoot, what do we write?" Just keep going. That's how I feel. So Blackfire being the season baddie, all I know of Blackfire is what I saw in Teen Titans, the cartoon. Do you know anything of Blackfire aside from that?
Barely anything.
Yeah, I think
almost nothing.
Yeah, and by having her as the big bad, being that she's super powered, that's where I think, and according to those leaks, Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy. Oh, sorry, Starfire, Raven, Beast Boy will become the front runners of the show, I think. Do you think those three characters can actually carry this show?
Not really. I feel like they tried to put a lot of that weight on Raven season 1. It didn't really feel like it was, again, cohesive. They didn't really write the whole thing. It was kind of hit and miss. She took a major backseat in season 2. Gar, same sort of situation. They introduced him, thought they were going to kind of be buddy-buddy with Rachel, which she is, but he, again, took a major backseat season 2. Starfire, I think, yeah, I mean, she also took a major backseat season 2. All of them did.
Yeah.
Because at least with season 1, she had a mission that she was trying to accomplish. You know, why am I chasing after this girl? I'm helping her, but it turns out I'm supposed to be going after her to like kill her, sort of thing. So at least they kind of flipped the script there. But everybody took a back seat and they mainly focused on Dick, which I'm obviously very pro for, because that's kind of what I was wanting the most was Dick and going from Robin to Nightwing, and I liked the whole addition of Jason Todd. I liked some of what was happening with Connor, but those three just took such a back seat in season 2 that I don't know if they can redeem them and be like, oh, let's put these guys at the front, and then now the people that we just kind of cared about are now in the back.
Yeah, and that brings us to the second point, which is the other rumor we saw of the list was that they're going to show a lot of Raven on the mascara. And we're guessing it's going to be her honing her powers. So do you have faith in them actually pulling that off nicely? Because we already have what the movie set up as what the mascara looks like and how the Amazonians are. Do you have faith in them doing that? And 2, can you see them maybe doing some other subplot with just the Amazonians, and then maybe Blackfire's like kind of in the background, maybe the beginning of the season, and then she's the end of the season?
I could care less about whatever happens with Rachel and Themyscira, to be honest with you. Like, I feel like there's 0 point in her going there. She's never known anything about it. She had 0 connection with Donna in the season 2 to even want to be like, I want to go to Themyscira. They have nothing to teach her. They're Amazonian. She's part demon. What correlation there? I don't know, unless it has to be with their knowledge and way that they encounter, like maybe Ares, but he's a god, not a demon. That's the only correlation that I really see. How they're going to present it, obviously, they're not going to be able to do a Wonder Woman budget. I feel like what they're going to do is kind of keep it main city to the point where it's almost like, I forget the name of the city, but like in like Lord of the Rings, like when they get to that main city and it's very like in the walls type of thing. Super simple, nothing big set.
Everything enough in like 2 towers?
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be very contained to the inside of city. They can't go out, have that big ocean scene with the rocks on the island and all that stuff. That's not going to happen. They're going to keep it very small, very tight set. That's going to be just brick wall and that's it, or whatever, and just have some armor walking around. But I have 0 faith in the story, and I could care less. If that was completely taken out, I'm perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think it's going to be one of those budget issues where they have the idea for it, they want to do it. I mean, DC should be dumping all their app budget into that show because that's the only thing that keeps people on that app. Harley Quinn's actually apparently decent. I've only seen the first episode, but I don't know anybody talking about that aside from this other YouTuber, Jay Washington. Nobody else is talking about that show. But yeah, I also could care less about how she does on that island. Maybe they will find a way to get us to care about Raven as a whole. But like you said, you wanted us to care about her. You threw her in the garage, and then you're like, oh, by the way, remember that time we had this character? And they're gonna try to get us back into it. But the biggest thing that I saw across the internet universally was another character you mentioned, Beast Boy, aka Tiger Boy, where everybody online is calling him Tiger Boy because that's all he changes into. So, on the same token of budget, if you were DC, do you put more of your budget in Beast Boy transforming or into Themyscira?
I'll put it all into Beast Boy. Themyscira, it's just a setting, whereas Beast Boy is going to be a character that you have to develop, and he's going to have to appear across the platform, assuming it continues further seasons beyond 3. He's just got to be a major player. With Raven going to Themyscira, she's going to go there. She's going to have her storyline. She's going to learn whatever she needs to learn and then go back, where she's going to have to interact with Gar, and he's going to be part of the team. So I would put more into Beast Boy than Raven. Just quick budgetary thing, if they wanted to be mega cheap, just take the footage from Wonder Woman of like big wide shots of like Themyscira, do like a slow zoom in, then just be like, boom, she's on Themyscira. This is her in the city. Like, just take that stuff that's already done and just paste it in there, and then that takes out part of your budget because it's already done. But I would go all in on Beast Boy if I had to choose.
I just thought of something too as we were kind of discussing this. If I was them on this budget, because that's really what it always comes down to, I'm thinking Raven's gone, right? Just have her gone the whole season, and then you could bring her back in some like big reveal. Focus mainly on Beast Boy and the Titans as a whole, and then if the demand is there, then we go and see what she was doing the whole time, and maybe drop gems here and there. But that, she's so far removed now. Focus on the Titans as a whole, because we still have not seen that. They were forming a team in the first season, and in the second season, the team that they formed for all of 5 minutes is broken up. So I'm thinking, yeah, like you kind of said, let's just put her to the side. Don't even worry about her. All of it's in Beast Boy. Do you think they're going to use Cadmus to explain him learning the new animals, or how do you think they might actually pull that off?
100%. Yeah, they're definitely going to have to use Cadmus, because he didn't have any real desire to turn into anything else. But I think because the way a brain works, the fact that you can, I don't know, I'm not a neurosurgeon or anything like that, but you can, touch something wrong in the brain and then all of a sudden you can only speak Spanish or something like that.
Right.
That's going to be the easiest way they can explain it. Like all of a sudden, hey, I just got tired of being a tiger. Well, he's been a tiger for 2 seasons. He has no reason to change into something else. He has every opportunity to, but he doesn't. So the only thing they can do is be like, Cadmus touched a button inside of my head, whatever, and that's what caused this change. But to go back really quick, something I thought you said was interesting is just to fully remove her, have her come back for Raven. My thought process was if they did something kind of along the lines of Arrow, where yes, she goes away, but she comes back, but then maybe through conversations with catching up with people or whatever, we can have that flashback to the island or whatever, that she was going through that training or whatever she's supposed to be going through. Just as a possible idea, get rid of her, but then you can still have those on the back burner just in case, or you can change your mind in the future. But going back to Gar, the easiest way to explain everything is Cadmus. That's the only thing that he's done other than being Doom Patrol and being possessed by, or not possessed, but whatever, by Trigon.
Right.
That's all that's happened to his character.
And what was the? Oh, and then the second mind control was Cadmus. That's right. I forgot about the Trigon part actually. So you just said that. So the part of the equation there too, of course, would be Superboy. So, do you actually want more Superboy, or do you also think? Because right now, like if we look at that list there or that picture, that's a lot of characters for one show. And with all the filler that they've done in the past, I don't trust them to do any good filler at all. If you were making your Titan show and you're doing season 3, who's off that list aside from Raven that you're like, put them off to the side, we'll worry about that later, let's move the story forward?
Off that roster, I mean, obviously Donna's dead, so we can get rid of her. We can scratch off Rose because I could care less. I like to keep Jason just because I think he has an interesting dynamic with just being the wise ass who doesn't give a shit really about anything and just goes for it. I think you kind of have to keep the other ones. Superboy I would still keep. I think Connor's important. I think he had a really good episode when he just did his episode, but when they put him in the larger narrative, he was just basically a big baby that was learning the world and what is this, and then he starts beating up cops because he thinks that they're hurting somebody like a criminal or whatever. So he has no sense of right and wrong. So if they focus just on him and not have him be that sort of mentally adolescent, I think it would be a lot better. Because, I mean, even if you look at Young Justice, at least when he came out of being in, like, his containment or whatever you want to call it, his being a prisoner, at least he was coherent enough to be, like, pissed off all the time that this was who he was, that he didn't get a choice in that, and that he was just sort of angry at everything. This one, he's just like a child just trying to figure out the sense of right and wrong. And I think I'd rather take pissed off but having to learn how to be the hero versus just learning everything from diapers up.
Right. No, that's a good point, especially with his portrayal in Young Justice, because he wasn't as much an infant in that. Like he was an adult, but the world was new to him. He was like, "Oh, pizza, what is this?" Like that kind of stuff. I think I agree with you for the most part there. Jason, I would also probably do. He's off doing his own thing, and then maybe every 3 episodes, it's maybe a Jason Todd episode, or we just get some clips of him doing him. Because I think for him, it's going to be crucial to have him kind of turn into that bad guy, to be bold enough to be on his own and get killed. What I like about Young Justice is they did that with Speedy, and the whole, I don't even know what you would call them all, the Speedy lineage or whatever. because there's 3 of them. There's like the clones, the original, all that stuff. Somebody, actually, I think it was the Cyber Nerds. They brought up a really good thing, a really good point, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. What if they build Jason Todd up to eventually be a villain in a season? Kill him, he comes back as Red Hood, and then he's a season 5 villain. You think they could do? Do you even trust them to pull that kind of thing off?
I mean, it's a built-in villain if they're able to continue the show. I mean, you have a character that we know that's going to die, that's going to become some semblance of vigilante evil type of person or bad guy. It's just a built-in story. You have access to that. You don't have to worry about how am I going to get these characters from A to B. So, I mean, if you have that Red Hood, obviously us as an audience, if we're fans of it, we know that Jason, unless they want to pull some massive twist on us. But it's just an easy story to go to. There's not really a whole lot of, do we have to do a lot of character building on a whole new character? And then there's just like this massive mystery that you can have build up over a season and then just twist it that, oh, it was Jason the whole time. And you don't have to worry about who's finding a villain within the Teen Titans lore that we care about that's not Deathstroke. Because I don't really think there's much of one, unless you want like a small villain, like a Trickster, I think is what one of them was called, or something like that. They're all going to be small time. And I think Jason can present that bigger threat to the team, but it's going to be a longer play than something right now, season 3, possibly 4.
Are you opposed to, let's say, season 3, Blackfire's the villain, right? I guess we'll wait to see how that goes. But here's, if I was them, which I like that we've been playing this game today, if I was the ones writing the check. What are your thoughts on this? If I was them, Blackfire's the villain this season. She's only in a couple episodes, really, but overall she's villain. Season finale, Deathstroke's back. He's not really dead. Season 4, he's still the villain again. I still wouldn't have Raven or Donna in any of that stuff. Starfire, I don't have her in at all. End of season 4, he kills Robin, Jason Todd. Season 5, we're playing long game here. Season 5 is actually a flash forward years. Everybody's so much older, and then that's when you bring back Jason Todd.
I'd be down for that. I mean, at least with Deathstroke, you're going to get a villain that people actually want to see. I could care less about Blackfire this upcoming season, unless they do a twist kind of like this season where it seemed like they were really focusing on Deathstroke being the villain, but then at the very end they're like, oh no, it's Cadmus. Unless they tried to pull something like that, I don't really see another villain they could come up with. I mean, Slade kind of has that ability to possibly get out of those situations, but at the same time, I don't care when those OP characters like Raven, like Starfire, Superboy are involved. If they're grounded, it's going to be a lot tougher fight for them. Keeping it Hawk, Dove, now Nightwing, Jason Todd, who could eventually be killed by him. Even Gar, I mean, yes, he's more supernatural, I guess, but at least he's just a normal guy that can just change into animals, whereas the other ones can be overpowered with various abilities. So there's different storylines they could play with, but I'm fine with Deathstroke coming back. I mean, it's more interesting than Blackfire to me. I'd rather watch a whole another season again of the same thing, the same bad guy, get a second crack at it, than watch Blackfire.
Yeah, I'd even I don't know what the rules are in it, but I'm all pro Lazarus pick that dude back. Like, I mean, introduce Raj, get him in the pit. You don't have to have Raj as a villain, but you can show him so that down the road maybe he becomes a villain. But somebody takes Deathstroke, maybe the mother takes him. He gets thrown in the pit, comes back. I think it was just such a wasted opportunity. We need, like you said, we need that second crack at Deathstroke done properly.
And something, if they brought in the Lazarus pit and brought Deathstroke back, somehow having him, again, maybe abducting Jason, which they did last season, but he could do it again to the point where he somehow corrupts him enough that he gets him interested in Lazarus Pit, and then he dies later, or even if he just straight up kills him and they take him to the Lazarus Pit.
Yep.
You have those storylines built in. Now you have season 4 done. Now you can go on to season 5 where you have that storyline with Red Hood.
I knew exactly where you're going with it, and that was, like you said, the blueprint. The blueprints are done, and this is where DC, I think, needs to capitalize over what Disney is doing with Star Wars. Like Disney has access to all of Star Wars. They had it when they bought it, and when they bought it, they said, "We don't want any of it. We're doing our own thing," and it's been jacked up ever since.
It was a power move.
Totally was a power move. DC has access to everything, and they still use it because they make the animated movies and stuff. Put that in the movies. Put that in the live action things. Like they've messed up so many movies trying to be different. Just copy from the comics. Nobody would complain. It's one of those where Jason being thrown in the Lazarus Pit, that animated movie wasn't the best, but that made way more sense than the original reason that Jason Todd came back. Which do you remember how he came back? Actually, how they explained it the first time?
Not right off the top.
So he and of course, if anybody is way more into the lore than I am, and can correct me, please do that in the comments. So he came back originally in the Hush series, which they didn't do in the animated movie that you reviewed. I didn't review because I couldn't come up with any positives on that movie. But the way I think they explained it was that Superboy Prime had actually punched reality so hard that Jason Todd came back from the dead. That's how they did it the first time, I believe. First or second. But what that animated movie did, I thought was a far superior motive, which was Raj wanted to get back at Batman, and he's like, I'm going to do so by resurrecting the heir to the Bat family, if you would. And then he went rogue and did all his things. So I think Lazarus Pit, setting that thing up over the course of 3 seasons, just gems here and there. Great series. And I feel like that can actually improve the parts where Arrow even fell off. Because I feel like Arrow at a certain point kind of had a lot of good things with the League of Assassins, and then they just kind of forgot about it.
Yeah, that's where I was going to go next. Is actually Arrow did do the Lazarus Pit and all this other stuff. League of Assassins you mentioned, and a lot of it was really boring. Just guys in caves, and then it looked more like a hot tub than the Lazarus Pit to me. But just replace the characters. I mean, Raven, she's a Teen Titan, but bring her back when she's like actually Raven, not just like the road to Raven. Starfire I could get rid of. I'm just looking at the TV behind you. Donna's already gone. So you're missing some superpowers. But again, just rotate them in with grounded people. We know Donna Troy knows I lost his name. Red Arrow. Name escapes me.
Roy Harper.
Roy Harper. Thank you. We know she knows him.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he wants to be on this team. Yeah. We need a speedster some way. Get a Kid Flash. I don't know how you're going to do it. They probably can't because CW has it in some way. But
that's still Barry, so they can still bring in Wally. Oh no, they have Wally too.
They have Wally. Yeah. There's another one.
There's the grandson, which in the show they ended up doing. They changed sex to a daughter.
Yeah, whatever his name was, whose name escaped me. We just round them out and don't make them demon conflicted. A good amount of grounded people, which is the best part of the show, and 2 overpowered that have no idea what they're doing. You have Superboy, who's adolescent minded. You have Starfire, who's I feel like mentally gone most of the time. She doesn't seem like she's present in a lot of what's going on with them because she always has her side story. But if we have people who are wanted part of the team and forced to be together because they're on the ground, they have nowhere else to go and can't just like fly off or worry about what's happening on another world or where they're from and all these inner dilemmas, then we have a team that can focus on beating the bad, whoever it's going to be, whether it's supernatural, intergalactic, whatever you want to call it, or just a mercenary like Deathstroke.
Yeah. So I guess to kind of wrap things up, and paint the bigger picture, if you had to make a bet, Vegas odds, does this get a season 4?
I'm thinking.
Oh yeah.
It's tough. They have they have the blueprint. They
Right.
have everything that they could possibly need.
Hmm.
It's just a matter of having to be able to write it and present it in a way that clearly it's somehow working despite 2 pretty bad seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, Netflix cancels good ones after 1. Uh, so, I mean, there's plenty of seasons on Netflix that I'm like, okay, let's see what happens next. And then
Done.
12 months later, because it takes forever for them to decide if it's going to be renewed or not, they're done. I'm not going to put all my eggs in the basket of hopefully if it gets renewed for season 4 or beyond. I mean, I can only hope. The blueprint's there. I mean, we just wrote through like season 5.
Yeah.
In this like half hour, 45 minutes. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if 2 guys on the internet can do it, why can't some overpaid writers do it?
Well, they're writing too many shows at once, to my understanding.
Yeah.
My prediction: season 4 of Titans as we know it does not happen. I think they rebrand and they somehow make it like, I mean, I'll use this title, but that's not what they'll do, to my thought. Would, Red Hood and the Outlaws, but it would be, Robin and blank. So Dick Grayson is still the main, or Nightwing and whatever. Dick Grayson is still the main character. The other people kind of come and go, but it's really following him because Hawk and Dove are rumored to have their own show. So I'd have no issue with them getting pulled, but I don't think they'll be able to hold the show on their own. So I think since now Nightwing is the best part of the show, it's his show. Everybody comes and goes. And based on the mission, he'll bring in whoever to do what needs to be done. My thought. But I think Titans as a whole, I don't think it can be saved if they want to keep it like this.
I agree with that. Yeah, and I like kind of like the thought process of changing it to main character because that's kind of what they did, and the insert group name. Like you were saying, Red Hood and the Outlaws, or if you want to do like, I think it's like Wolverine and the X-Men or something like that, and the New Mutants or whatever they're called. Just follow that formula. I mean, just pick a main character because they're way too scattered. I could care less about 80% of them.
Yeah, they did.
And go with it.
And that's, it's funny because it seems to be the theme of like this past year, which is like almost character overload. Like this poster, so many people were introduced from season 1 to season 2. I think of Rise of Skywalker going back to part 1, which again, if you guys want to see part 1, that's on Aaron's channel. You had a movie that was the final chapter of a trilogy, and they still introduced new characters at 0 hour. And it's like, why? You don't need these character overloads. Just use what you have, develop what you have. If you're going to add anybody, add villains. But I think this past year was just all these these companies were just like, let's just add more heroes, more things on the screen, and it'll work. And it's proving not to work. To me.
DC still having that problem. Before we started recording this part 2, we were talking about how I had just seen the Birds of Prey stuff that just came out with Harley Quinn. And I think it's called Harley Quinn something, or is it still called Birds of Prey? I don't even know what it's called anymore. But it's just overload in the posters. It's overload in the whatever you want to call it. It's the Suicide Squad all over again, just throwing characters at the screen, hoping a couple stick. Because you went with the one that you liked. They did that method. Harley Quinn and the Emancipation or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
They did that method, kind of. And hopefully it'll be better than Suicide Squad. I'm not putting any faith in it, but I think they're just following that method. And I think we're going to see that method at least for possibly the next year.
Mm.
Hopefully it'll be over by 2021.
Yeah.
Because it was all of those things were happening or in development already. So we might still see a lot of that character overload still through this next year, but hopefully it'll die out towards the end and rolling into 2021.
Yeah. And the crazy part too is like, even just thinking about this year, you know, Titans coming back, Birds of Prey, Wonder Woman, like to me, DC had a really good shot on paper of beating out Marvel in 2020. Because all Marvel's going to have is the Black Widow, and they'll have their WandaVision show. I think one more show might come out, but to me, on paper, DC has all the ability to beat. But you know, they have to treat their stuff with respect and stop making these, you know, million characters, explosions everywhere, Michael Bay, or as you pointed out, there's always a something in the sky that opens up, and you got to fight whatever comes out of the sky. So
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how DC does overall this year. If the app makes it out of this year, I will be shocked. If Titans gets renewed for season 4 as it stands, I'd be shocked. But I just feel like it's just so much wasted potential on these shows.
I agree.
Yeah.
I have a feeling, I think you said this before, they're probably going to end up on HBO Max at some point because I think Warner Brothers is part of that.
Yeah.
If this doesn't make it through season 2 of season 4, they're probably just going to move everything at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know how DC's going to stay afloat just on the back of whatever happens to be in theaters. And their animated movies, like I'm excited for like Red Sun, but beyond that, I don't know if they're developing anything else because they come out almost like one at a time. There's no like multiples in development.
Right. Well, you find out usually whenever the new movie comes out, at the end of that movie, there's like a trailer for the next one. The Red Sun, I don't know if there's a trailer for that in the Wonder Woman movie because I didn't watch that. But you're right. Even just the animated department's good. You know, like they're good there. You were talking about riding the back of something. I mean, Young Justice is what got most of us into this app. It wasn't even Titans because Titans, nobody knew anything about it, but we knew we loved Young Justice, which I thought was a bomb, season 3. So let's
watch it. I knew it was out, but I haven't even watched it.
Did you watch the first 2?
Yeah, I watched the first 2, but I just wasn't like itching for a season 3.
Yeah.
Like I was excited for it because I wanted to see where characters were going, but I haven't even put the time into watching it just because of by the time that I was about to watch it, I was already hearing some of the things coming back about it. And so I feel like I haven't decided if it's really worth the time. I'm sure if I get the time, I'll definitely make it, but that's about it.
Yeah, I think if you I guess an idea for your channel, if anything, would be to review it leading into like Titans coming out again. But otherwise, I watched the whole season 3. I cannot tell you the plot of that show. And like the first 2, great new characters. You had a plot line. You followed along. This one, I lost track of what episode I was on. I'd rewatch episodes. It was a mess. So you didn't really miss out.
Good to know. I'll get to it maybe before season 3. We'll see.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, great convo. I'm looking forward to a time where you and I can talk about Star Wars, DC, Marvel, and have positive things to say primarily.
One day.
Instead of all these just where they keep jacking up things we love. But thanks for being here on the channel again. I look forward to us coming up with a cool name so we can keep doing these part 1, part 2s. I think that's a really good idea. Everybody watching, please, if you're listening, if you're watching, comment down below. Hit us up on social media. Let us know what you think this show title should be. Aaron, anything that you want to plug before we head out of here?
No, just make sure you check out part 1 where we talk about Star Wars, both where it's going to go in the future, as well as a little bit of Rise of Skywalker. And then I also have another Star Wars thing coming out in the future about how to sort of get someone else or someone new into Star Wars. So working on that. It's going to have that out soon. But no, definitely let us know. I think both of our names are the same YouTube across all social media. So if you find us anywhere, let us know a name or what you guys want to see us talk about or anything like that, because we really enjoy this and we want to continue it. Just give us ideas. We'd love to hear it.
Definitely. And I'm really looking forward to that, how to get somebody to Star Wars. One of the continuing issues I've had in my dating history is dating people who have never seen it, and I failed every time of getting them into it. So maybe you can help me out with that.
Hopefully it will not make too many people angry. I've had several discussions about it with various people, so hopefully it will make sense to a fan like yourself.
Dope. All right. Yeah, great episode. Thank everybody for watching. Don't forget, like, comment, subscribe. Hit that follow button on the podcast apps if you're listening to this. And we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.